Hello, everybody, and welcome into a Monday edition of the Computer America Show. It's our pre-show hangouts, and hopefully all of you had a great weekend. I've got a great show planned for you tonight. In the first hour, we're going to have the CrashOverride Network. You remember CrashOverride from Hackers, the movie Hackers? His handle was CrashOverride. I wonder if they got it from the movie Hackers. Anyway, it's an anti-harassment website. We're going to be talking to them about what it is that they do. I think you'll find it very interesting. And then in hour two, we're going to have giftcards.com.
1 minute until showtime.
Yes, we're going to have the gift card girlfriend, Shelley Hunter. You're talking about gift cards and digital gift cards and all the different things that you can do with them and why, and the advantages to using something like that. Okay, so sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We'll be starting in just less than 40 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And welcome into a Monday edition of the Computer America Show. I got to do it. It's Monday!
Yeah! Greg, you say it's not a thing, but you're going to turn it into a thing.
Yes, I think it is going to be a thing. It looks like you moved, too. You have a different background again.
Yeah.
You have a busy weekend. He just keeps moving and moving, different rooms, different places. That's my co-host. Anywho, we've got a great show planned for you tonight. In the second hour of the show, we're going to have giftcards.com is going to be joining us. They were rescheduled. He couldn't make it for one reason or another, so that happens in broadcasting, and so we're going to have the spokesperson for giftcards.com, Shelley Hunter, is going to be with us. She's known as the gift card girlfriend and spokesperson for giftcards.com, and she's going to talk about what it is that they offer and all the different features, and that should be really, really interesting. And let's see, what else? Of course, we had our Show Reminder Winner of the Week. All our contests are up in full swing. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the program. Any upgrade alerts that we shouldn't be know about? Everybody using iOS 8.2?
Yeah, no, I think we're pretty up to date on all that kind of stuff.
No? Okay, yeah, okay. Anything newsworthy that we might do later on, too? Anything in the technology news segment?
Yeah, we get around to it. There's some stuff that is interesting.
Cool. All right. Well, then I think that now, if we're not going to have open phone lines in this hour, we're going to keep them closed. But we do want to let you know that you can go on our Computer America chat room. What you do is you go to our homepage at ComputerAmerica.com and you click on the chat and live video button. If you do that, two things are going to happen. It's the live streaming video on the right-hand side is going to start up automatically, like I just did. And also on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see our internet registration form. You just put in a nickname. That's the name you'll be known by when you go in there. Click and then click the connect button, and your browser will move you into our Computer America chat room. It's a lot of fun. We certainly invite you to join us in the chat room. There are a lot of participants in there now, and we welcome you to participate in the chat room. And of course, I mentioned the live Computer America video streaming page. That is, not only can you listen to the Computer America Show, you can now watch the Computer America Show. That's right, we have live streaming video. And of course, if you missed it all, we archive everything. If you go to our archives pull-down menu, you can see everything time shifted. You can listen to the show on Blog Talk Radio. We have they archive it there. We have it on Apple's iTunes. We have the link there. We have the RSS feed. Everything is there that you need to listen to the show after the show. But of course, we would love to have you listen to us live. I mean, that's at 10 p.m. to midnight, Monday to Friday, Eastern Time. So, okay. So as I mentioned, we're keeping the phones closed for this hour. We'll open up for the second hour of the show. So let's get to our guest who is anxiously waiting in the wings. And our guest tonight is from CrashOverride. And when I say CrashOverride, you know, I think of the movie Hackers, because you know, Angelina Jolie. It was kind of, people were sort of on the cusp of bringing computers to the homes and everything, and so a lot of things were kind of wrong, but it was still a lot of fun to watch. And one of the hackers was known as CrashOverride. I'm wondering if there's a tie-in. Maybe we'll find out from a guest. So anyway, that's the name of the website. It's a support network and assistance group for victims and targets of unique forms of online harassment, composed entirely of experienced survivors. Their network includes experts in information security, white hat hacking, PR, law enforcement, legal, threat monitoring, and counseling. Now, joining us tonight in this hour is Zoe Quinn. She is the co-founder of CrashOverride. Zoe, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, I kind of explained it briefly, but why don't you, in your own words, kind of explain what the idea behind CrashOverride is? And was I right? Does the name come from the movie Hackers, or was there, or is that just accidental?
Yes, it is a Hackers reference. We kind of couldn't pass up the opportunity. It actually came from another games industry person, Adam Sussler, had seen us sort of in our early days get a call that a game developer has had a Skype account compromised. So we sort of whipped out what we were calling the mobile command center back then, which had like a Wi-Fi hotspot, a couple extra batteries, laptops, you name it, and just sort of went to work helping him out. And he said it looked a lot like the movie Hackers and was kind of making fun of us. So that's always sort of stuck with us.
Okay. Did you smile when you watched that movie too? Like most.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
There you go. I'm glad to hear it. It was very enjoyable. So tell us about CrashOverride, and in your own words, what is the website all about?
Well, our organization has a lot less rollerblading than the movie Hackers. We basically deal with helping any sort of victims of massive campaigns of online harassment. So, you know, sort of chronic cases where groups of people are being are perpetuating the harassment, whether it's anonymous message boards, people that the victim actually knows. We really work to help provide practical solutions to certain issues they face, and we have a very intimate understanding of what issues they face, having been staffed largely by people who have been there themselves. We also have an extended network of experts and specialists in things like law enforcement, in civil law, in white hat hacking, in any sort of thing, any sort of need that people in situations like this might need, that can give practical, qualified advice in terms of how to deal with specific problems, because a lot of the times when people are dealing with something like this, they might find themselves at a loss for finding real help, and I know we did starting out early on. So sort of through dealing with it as being targets of it, and then later through CrashOverride, we've gotten a good understanding of how to actually help people instead of just being able to just shrug our shoulders and say that sucks.
Yeah. So what has the response been since the network formed? What kind of reaction are you getting?
It's been kind of overwhelming. Since we launched in mid-January, we've had over 300 cases. We've also had a fair bit of backlash, but we had sort of anticipated that from the people doing the harassment, like usually people who run in these communities, that primarily what they do is things like doxing and hacking. Doxing, of course, for those who don't know, is when somebody finds your personal information, like your home address and phone number, and posts it online in sort of a threatening manner in the hopes that other people will take it and escalate it, whether it's sending you unwanted deliveries or, in the worst case, swatting. Which is where someone attempts to call a SWAT unit to your home address using a fake call-in saying that something dangerous is happening at your house. So a lot of what we do is geared on undermining those efforts and re-empowering victims. So naturally, when we launched, the people that like to perpetuate that kind of thing didn't take too kindly on it, but we had anticipated that because they really only have one playbook and fortified things like making sure we had DDoS protection, which to make sure that the site had uptime and things like that. So aside from that, it's been overwhelmingly positive. We've had more interest than we can manage, and it's been really heartening to see the ways in which we're able to help some of these people.
I'm just trying to get a grasp on what is there to hate about a support group, a network, trying to help people get their lives back together, do that kind of like what would be the criticisms for, hey, how dare you try to help people? Shame on you. Like,
well, it's similar to the criticisms that have been levied at us generally. That like they'll dredge up more personal attacks, essentially. Like, it's not actual criticism. It's either that or it's just completely unfounded, weird conspiracy theories about us having something to do with, like, DIGRA, DARPA, like, what have you. So it's a lot of people that are just kind of from Mars, essentially, with that mentality, thinking that we're, somehow either shadowy overlords trying to censor the internet by saying, hey, maybe don't post people's home addresses. Like, it's either that or rooted in misunderstandings of what we do. Like, if people think that we're some vigilante group out to dox people back, when really all we do is defensive actions. We help people secure their accounts, we help them remove docs, and we sort of support them emotionally so they can actually talk to people who have been there, rather than trying to explain the internet and why it matters and what's happening to them to people who might not understand all the time.
I mean, and obviously, I find it surprising that someone like yourself or with this network would get so much. Is it a lot of it, or is it only just a couple of people or a few people who are very vocal about about it? But the overall reception for our Crash Override has been a positive one. Would you say that?
Oh yeah, it's been overwhelmingly positive. But the thing with online harassment is, since anybody can register any number of accounts, it's hard to tell how many actual people are levying these sort of completely backwards attacks our way. So I mean, these are also the same people who try to hack into our emails, try to hack into our websites. So it's like not surprising that the people that are trying to commit criminal actions against us also don't maybe have the best criticisms of what we're doing right and wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in a way, maybe you want to take that as a compliment, because what you're doing is eliciting that kind of response from the people who are guilty of doing things like that. I mean, if you weren't a threat to them, then you probably wouldn't be hearing from them. The fact that you're doing such good work is causing these individuals to respond in that manner.
I'd like to think of it that in the way that we're sort of angering the right kind of person. Exactly.
So you really flip it around, and say, okay, well, we're pissing off all these people, and evidently we must be on the right track, because if we weren't, we wouldn't be hearing from them. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the more, or maybe the most successful cases that you can talk about with Crash Override?
Sure. I mean, while we keep any of the people that we help and their information in strictest confidence, a couple people have spoken out about our efforts after we were able to help them. Israel Galvez is one of them in particular. He's a developer in the Seattle area that we saw that his docs were floating around and that people were planning on committing a swatting attempt on him. So we sort of formulated the plan to document all of this and let his local police department know ahead of time what was going on. And they actually issued a department-wide notice saying that, if you see this address come up, if you see this attempt, knock with your fist, not with your boot, is how it was worded, I believe. So in doing this, since the police naturally have to respond to every single phone call where someone's life may be in danger, when somebody called a third-party tip line to say that this person was making bombs in their house and suicidal and that they might hurt somebody, the department had a heads up and they were able to keep the situation de-escalated, which is especially important because Israel is a person of color, and in too many situations they're more likely for things to escalate, for cops to get nervous, for bad things to happen, sadly. So we were really happy that we were able to help him sort of return some sort of normalcy to his life. So they basically, instead of storming it with guns out. They just went to his house, knocked, and were like, hey, we got the call. We just have to make sure everything's okay, check things out, and left without anything getting heated. And we're really, really happy we were able to help walk him through that.
Yeah, that's wonderful because there's nothing. I mean, that's one of the worst things of swatting that I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, we've seen lots of those videos, and they're all over the internet, where especially popular streamers and stuff like that, they'll be sitting at their computers, and then the next moment there's men with assault rifles pointing guns everywhere, and that could get people killed. So it's I mean, like, on the one hand, it's nice that you were able to kind of de-escalate the situation where no one it was a much less likely that someone was going to get hurt, but I mean, it's I guess at some point it's still surprising that they even had to go check it out. Even still,
Yeah.
even though you gave them the warnings, like they still had to go check it out as a credible threat.
Well, yeah, because even with 911, if you dial 911 accidentally, just for a moment, and you hang up and you realize the moment it goes through, or you say, oh, I dialed the wrong number, I'm so sorry, they're still going to send somebody out, because maybe at that moment you just had a chance to get it before somebody pulled the phone from your hand. They don't know. The fact that the call goes out, they have to follow up with it. So that makes perfect sense. And obviously they were able to defuse this. Was really a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, if the cops didn't respond to calls like that, then you could have somebody who actually was dangerous and was planning to hurt people. All they would have to do is call ahead and be like, oh, somebody's totally going to call in a prank. And then, if the cops didn't send anybody, that could put someone's life in danger. So they do have to respond to tips where people's lives are in danger.
Yeah, but at least, as you mentioned, they didn't kick it. It was a lot. The situation was diffused. So that was probably one of the more successful cases that you can talk about?
Yeah, as far as anything else goes, we pride ourselves on keeping people's information in the strictest of confidence. Mm-hmm. So outside of Israel, who's gone out and spoken on his own behalf and given us explicit permission to mention it anytime somebody asks us questions like that, I can't really divulge anybody else's information.
As you that's perfectly understandable.
And by the way, just to get some of the more specifics out about your website and your service, CrashOverride Network. I mean, is it who are you welcoming to come and kind of ask for advice, assistance? If someone listed, is it anyone who perceives themselves being bullied online? Is it anyone who they have to come to you with some actual proof that that their documents are out there? Like, who are you inviting to come talk to you?
Well, we have documents put out there on our site for just anybody, even people who want to just beef up their account security. We have guides on removing docs, on how to find if there's docs on you out there, how to properly secure your accounts, how to talk to police, things like that. So if there's people that just want general advice, we can send them to our resource page. However, the cases that we deal with are primarily focused on cases of, first, the harassment has to be online. We don't handle stuff that happens in real life. We suggest people work with their local authorities on matters like that. But And if it's just one person, there's very little we can do outside of give the standard advice in terms of helping them remove docs and secure their accounts. Where we really specialize is when groups of people are harassing a single person or a group of people. So if there's a lot of anonymous message boards have groups that do this. There's just communities that are actually based around harassing people now, and there's even YouTube personalities that make a living off of being sort of the pedestal and platform for people and just sort of pointing the targets and letting their people do their dirty work. So really what we deal with is more cases like that, things that are specific to the internet and places where traditional avenues of recourse when you're being harassed or being threatened fail so often. We try to fill in that gap as well as we can.
It's sad that we need something like CrashOverride, but the fact that it's there is a good thing. So let's talk a little bit about the structure of your network. Give us a little bit let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay, well, we have a series of agents. The only people that are publicly known are myself and my partner Alex Lifshitz, who co-founded this with me. The rest of our agents are kept completely anonymous from anybody but ourselves in the organization. We do this so that they can't be targeted for further harassment, because these are people who have already sort of been through that particular ringer, and we don't really want the cost of working with CrashOverride to be becoming a target again. Mm-hmm. So we keep our agents in strict confidence, as well as outside of the agents that work with us on a daily basis that help us monitor and do a variety of activities. We also have expert specialists that tend to have full-time jobs that we in like these particular fields. Like there's a police veteran that we recently worked with to overlook our guide on what to do with talking to the police and how to deal with swatting. So we had reached out to him for advice. We have lawyers that we've reached out to for advice, but they're not like the agents that are 24/7 around. So it's sort of like a network that's sort of got this core group of people that are always with us, and then experts that are just really, really busy at the top of their game but still want to volunteer their time and advice when we need it. So that way we can ensure that any of the information that we're giving to people is solid. We're not just asking random people what should we do. We're asking the people who can give you the most direct answers and the most well-informed ones.
Are these attorneys or lawyers or people, are they working pretty much pro bono? I mean,
yes.
Okay. All right.
Well, I mean, we have paid consultants in the past, just out of pocket between Alex and I, but it's difficult because we don't currently accept funds. We don't charge money. We just do this because we want to see the internet get better.
Okay, well, that makes perfect sense. So
why do you have your sorry if I don't have the right title from your the counselors, the people who are actually helping, the people who contact you, why did you choose to go with someone who was also a victim of these kinds of harassment rather than just a minimum paid worker who happens to have a 6-hour seminar on the subject? Like, what kind of benefit do you think you have from someone who's been through it helping others going through it?
Oh, there's tremendous benefit. It's actually extremely difficult when something like this is happening to you to explain it to other people. It's hard to get other people to understand unless they've actually been there and they've lived it. So much so that like one of the most recent guides we had to put out there, just because we found ourselves answering the same questions over and over, like how do I deal with this person in my family who tells me it's my fault for speaking out on anything? How do I get law enforcement to take me seriously, but when they tell me it's just the internet, it doesn't matter? You can be met with so much resistance when something is happening to you online just because of this weird stigma that the internet carries where people think it doesn't count, like it's this alternate dimension where your behavior doesn't really matter and there's not really someone on the other end of the screen. I hear this myself all the time from people who were formerly part of Gamergate and formerly harassing me that sort of had a moment where they realized that I was a human and they've come to me and apologized. And like the number one thing they lead with is, I just didn't know. It sounds silly, but a lot of people don't get it. A lot of people don't understand. And it's hard to talk to somebody when you're already in such a vulnerable spot where you're like, hey, this horrible thing that is happening to me, I need your help. And to just be met with, oh, it doesn't matter, or oh, it's not real, when it very much is. I mean, so much so that news organizations get some of their breaking stuff off of Twitter. We saw that especially in activist circles when things were happening down in Ferguson. People were getting their on the front lines moment to moment from Twitter. Mm-hmm. So you can't say that things like social media doesn't matter. You can't say where after President Barack Obama's campaign was hugely boosted through the use of social media and the internet, that somehow doesn't matter, and that including all voices isn't important to that discussion. So it's just really hard to be a victim of so much of this, as well as like someone like me who lives and works online, right? I'm an independent game developer. I distribute my games only through digital platforms. It's really what's happening is this is happening in my workplace, but I don't have an HR manager that I can go to, so for the increasing amount of people that start living and working online, they shouldn't have to justify their existence online and their need for an online existence to someone that they're trying to seek help from. That's just another barrier between them and actually getting help they need.
So again, we want to stress that the CrashOverride is completely nonprofit.
We're actually not a nonprofit. We're not a business at all. We're just a bunch of people working together.
Okay.
That's even more nonprofit than nonprofit.
Yeah, it's just non.
It is. And this is all by word of mouth. I mean, this is grown just by word of mouth and doing shows, obviously like our show, Computer America, and other interviews. People, how do people find out about you other than that?
A lot of people sort of end up spreading stuff by word of mouth. We've had a lot of people come to us seeking help that are like, oh, hey, I saw that you helped so-and-so, and they recommended I talk to you because it's happening to me. Partially because a lot of this happens in online communities, and the thing about online communities is they talk. They share things that work. Beyond that, a lot of it happens to marginalized people who have their own sort of community. I know And then that's where we've gotten some of our resources. For example, there's been a lot of people that we've ended up helping who are trans, and as such, we have like specifically tailored resources to them because they might not face the same sort of welcome attitude in their support structure, traditional support structures that they should. Like if we have somebody who's dealing with suicidal thoughts or something, instead of recommending them to the National Suicide Prevention Line, we recommend them specifically to the Trans Lifeline because they don't have to worry about having that additional layer of somebody being crappy to them about their identity. And that's sort of highly tailored, highly customized advice that takes into account the victim first and foremost is sort of what we're offering, and a lot of people have been very receptive to that. The response has been really positive, especially with things in the news like us being able to help lower the threat, the danger in somebody's swatting situation, and the guides that we put out getting passed around and having people lock down their account security and what have you has been helpful for getting the word out there as well.
Mm. So let's talk about some of the other things here. Now you mentioned online mob harassment. First of all, what do you mean by online mob harassment? And then why don't you define that, and then talk a little bit. Is it unique to the games industry, or is anyone at risk?
Online mob harassment specifically is when you're dealing with a group of individuals harassing a single person. Often it's not somebody they know, like personally. It's not usually a friend or an ex. It's usually a group of people. It's gone past their immediate social circle and entered into some sort of higher heightened state where their information is being passed around between strangers that just do this. Though we do try and help in situations where it's not as escalated. Like we've provided assistance to victims of revenge porn as well. Okay.
It's interesting that you pointed out the games industry. I mean, is it more prominent in the games industry? Gamers. I mean, are we seeing more of that in the games industry, or are there other venues that have this as well?
It's actually been interesting to see a fair bit of authors being harassed, especially people who sell their books on Twitter, Amazon. It's really the biggest thing I can say over the last couple months that we've been running CrashOverride is it's surprising the walks of life that our clients come from, and if we could tell you the kinds of extremes that we've had, you'd probably be quite surprised. But no, it definitely extends outside of games and outside of tech. It really, the common uniting factor is anybody who has an online identity that matters to them.
Okay, and that's what it all starts with, really. It's the online identity.
Yeah, but I mean, there's also, like, if you wanted to just focus on games, because obviously that's your background and that's where you first got interested in the whole subject, being a victim yourself, and then just seeing, honestly, and I guess we could talk about real quick, what are some of the contributing factors to, what makes a person, become a victim to them, and sometimes it's just as simple as, being female, as being, maybe different skin color, just these little things that pick up on, and it seems to it's like steamroll from there. Like it just goes crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, while this sort of thing can happen to anybody, like literally anybody, that I guess has lived online at any point, it's really with every layer of marginalization. Like if a person is, if they're a different gender, if they're a person of color, especially if they're trans, like, oh my God, the amount of toxicity and virulence that happens to the people that we help in our community that are trans is just frightening. Or disability, like any sort of thing that is perceived as othered by the dominant culture, it's magnified massively. Like we rarely see cases against straight white men escalate to the levels to which we see any average case from say a trans woman. However, we have seen very severe cases of harassment towards straight white men, like really, like one of our cases that I can think of that's just shocking. So really, it can happen to everyone, but absolutely, who you are plays a factor, which is unfortunate because this is never anybody's fault. It's not anybody's fault, and it sucks. It just sucks.
Just as sidestep here for a moment, can what kind of games have you developed? You're a game developer. What kind of any games that we might have know about, or uh, would we know any of your work?
Sure. The one that I'm probably most well known for is Depression Quest, which is an interactive fiction game played in browser about living with depression. That's got a lot of words in it. And then the next game that I shipped is called Framed, which is an iPad game about that's like a puzzle-solving comic book where you swap the panels that has no words in it. And I think those are really the two biggest ones that I have any sort of lead role on. I've also done minor work like I've done voice acting for a game called Jazz Punk. I was lead QA on a game called They Would Bleed Pixels. I did a little bit of PC QA for Fez. I've made, I think, over 30-something small games that can be played, very briefly, like Jeff Goldblum Staring Contest, or Win R.L. Stein's Money, which is a trivia game about the Goosebumps series that I made for Halloween one year, or Hitler or Lovecraft, where you have to figure out which famous racist said what. So a lot of my work is actually squarely in the comedy camp. However, I do a bunch of stuff. I basically just do weird stuff.
Ben is our gamer on our show. Anything ringing a bell? Are you familiar with anything?
Hitler or Lovecraft, maybe. But I have played Depression Quest. There we go, and I really like that one. It really appealed to me for reasons I don't really want to get into on the show. But yeah, no, I've seen some of your work. It's good stuff.
Thank you.
All right, so we're at the bottom of the hour. When we come back, I'd like to ask you what the tech world can do to help curb this kind of harassment or the culture around it. So we're going to take a little break, and we'll be back. You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network. Ben and I are talking to Zoe Quinn, co-founder of CrashOverride. We'll be right back with her. I got a new News Tips Bulletin review from Marty Winston. That's coming up. Stay with us.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No hair removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No hair removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Okay, let's get you out of your rut. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America, this time Irwin Curved Jaw Vice Grips. Their full name, Irwin Fast Release Vice Grip Curved Jaw Locking Pliers, leaves us with only a few things to talk about for this review. The tool is 10 inches long. Its curved jaws are a plus when gripping pipe or conduit up to 48 millimeters in diameter. You can release it with one hand because there's no release trigger to squeeze. The front gripping lips are about half an inch wide and a quarter inch deep for a firm hold on smaller items, and the pressure adjustment is knurled for easy field modification. Bottom line, Irwin fast-release vice-gripped curved jaw locking pliers add a great grip on pipe or conduit, plus some handling improvements to a tool family we've long found dependable. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. 33 minutes past the hour. We're here with Zoe Quinn, and we're talking about CrashOverride Network and some of the, just harassment online in general, because it's really a subject that doesn't get enough attention. A lot of people are just really eager to say, well, it's just kids, well, it's just online, well, it's just this, well, it's just that. Very dismissive, because they figure, hey, we didn't have to grow up with it. It can't really matter that much. But at the end of the day, it does. So, and that kind of leads us into our next question, which was, what can the tech world do to help curb this kind of harassment or the culture around it?
While CrashOverride sort of deals on the foremost front of dealing with specific victims, I'm actually really excited to be on the board of another effort led by Randy Harper, another target of Gamergate, the same harassment campaign that I was. She created the Good Game Auto Blocker, which has made Twitter a lot more livable for a lot of people. It basically sees who is following the most abusive accounts and automatically blocks them from being able to contact you. So really, and only the people that are part of this sort of community of harassers is primarily, like, sometimes there's false positives. I believe KFC got blocked, but KFC will follow anybody. So it's sort of using a tech solution to help solve a social issue. And OAPI, the Online Abuse Prevention Initiative, is a nonprofit that Randy founded that both Alex and I are on the board, the board of, along with Sherry Rubin, who's another person who works in games. And we're currently actually working directly with tech companies to sort of figure out what sort of back-end solutions and tools we can provide to to sort of help their users combat their own harassment and sort of help them implement better strategies to deal with this going forward. So it's not just on the people dealing with it in the moment to have to navigate this, but we're actually looking to change the tech and help them know sort of from all of the information and research we've gathered working with victims with CrashOverride, pass up to the tech companies to tell them how they could do better and where the points in their systems are failing to sort of address it before it becomes a problem.
How much of it do you think is really educating the public? Because just like you said earlier, sometimes you've even had people come up and say, hey, I didn't exactly realize the what I was doing, the extent to what I was saying, because there's definitely a level of disconnect that goes on when you're looking at a computer screen, and we all know that there's other people behind the screen name, but you kind of forget that, and you can kind of let yourself get away with saying horrible things. When you get into a mob mentality, you say even worse things, and it kind of goes on from there. Like, how much of it do you think these online communities could deal with some education? And I know it sounds silly saying if these guys were just educated, they'd be better. But there has to be somewhere in there an education tool to kind of say, hey, look, if you wouldn't say it to someone's face, why hit them over the head with it continuously online?
I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, one of the biggest things coming up against victims of online harassment is that cultural perception. It can actually prevent them from being able to seek help. I mean, when judges have that mentality, when law enforcement officials have that mentality where they don't think the internet is a serious thing or a thing that, if you're harassed on is a big deal, then that's just a major systemic issue outside of just online culture. That's a culture at large problem. And especially when it keeps these marginalized voices out of larger conversations, that's something that we really need to start to take seriously. So I think part of it is just people actually starting to value the internet as a part of people's lives and to sort of spread internet and tech literacy in general. Like, it would be lovely to see people like judges who have to take continuing education credits to remain a judge have something like a tech course that's offered. There's not even a tech course offered. They they can't take a class to learn about this along with the rest of them, as far as I know, as far as the people I work in law enforcement with these issues have told me. So I think even just basic systemic changes that place a value on tech to help sort of the culture at large catch up to the speed at which tech moves, which is breakneck, and that's one of the biggest problems, I think, is like systems outside of the internet and outside of technology move way slower than the constant speed at which technology is upgrading. You know, there's that whole concept people have of the singularity, that whether you believe it or not, it does have an element of the increasing speed at which technology is changing and evolving to it. Like, that part is true. However, when that's at odds with a legal system that can take decades for new laws to get on the books and for case law to be made, and when people are taking their cues from whether or not something is legal instead of whether or not, you know, something is hurting somebody, it can be very difficult to sort of advance the cultural narrative. And really, it's just people need to have kind of like a Soylent Green moment with the internet. They need to wake up one day and realize, oh, it's people. And, you know, where a lot of structures actually fail to help, I feel like people like artists can do a lot. You know, people in activist spheres are doing a lot. I know Anita Sarkeesian is doing amazing work in trying to talk about her own cases of harassment in the games community. Writers like Lee Alexander covering this stuff and talking about and humanizing the people who work here is vital for that sort of cultural perception to change. And I'd like to see that spread out more and more until people sort of realize that, you know, on the other end of the screen is a person. It's not just words and text and pixels.
But you said a number of things here that I just it makes me wonder. I mean, judges are educated human beings. I mean, they're very knowledgeable. I mean,
we hope.
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
You know, and I would be more inclined to believe what you were saying about, you know, if it was we were in the 90s or it's 2015, but the internet is pervasive. It's everywhere. Everybody has it and knows of it. It's not some obscure. You know, it's up there at a level of utilities. You know, running water and electricity in most homes. And to say that, you know, that sitting justices are unaware of what's going on, I mean, unless you're living under a rock, which I don't think they are, you know, I would think that they would have a better handle on it, and if something like this would come up, they would be a little bit more well equipped to handle it. Are you saying you're finding that's not the case?
Absolutely. I actually was sort of making reference to my own cases in that scenario. I had dealt with a judge firsthand that told me, you know, if this is what the internet's like, why don't you should maybe just not go on there. And I said, sir, my entire livelihood depends on that. And he told me that I was a smart kid and that I could figure it out. So you would hope that's the case. I certainly hoped that was the case. But sadly, it's just not there yet. I mean, we see that all the time, and not just my case, but plenty of cases we handle in CrashOverride. People just don't know. They haven't had to grow up with technology the way that we have, and just for whatever reason have been able to manage to not adopt it. And it's sad because it's just disadvantaging a lot of people that need that understanding in those positions of power.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't Luddites out there. I mean, I remember taking a taxi cab not too long ago, and the gentleman who was in the 70s, you know, and he asked me what I did, and I told him, oh, then I don't even own a computer. And I sat there during a great deal of the ride that we're going, trying to figure out, well, you know, how we would be able to use a computer. No, I don't do that. Nah, I don't need that. What if you need to find? No, I don't. I just go to the yellow pages, or you know, and so finally I gave up at that point. But so I realized that there are people with that mentality, because he was a cab driver, not a judge, which you know. I don't want to equate the two, but maybe it's something that that generation of human beings have to kind of die off, you know, and as
Craig.
the younger generation comes up, you know, and takes their place, you know, and they have been raised and know certainly about technology and the internet. Maybe that's maybe something time will solve.
I actually would like to disagree with that, especially if you look at the way that tech can actually really enrich the lives of people who are older, especially people that are like straight up, you know, in retirement, elderly, living in homes. You can see a major amount of benefit to both their cognitive skills and retaining them, and keeping in touch with people as using the internet. So I think rather than just sort of waiting for them to die off, we should encourage them to embrace it more fully, because it's not the internet that's the problem. And I think that everybody stands to gain by being able to embrace what is one of humankind's greatest inventions, quite frankly.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm not saying all. I didn't mean to group them all into one thing. But I'm just saying.
I feel like we're on the cusp of saying, waging war against old people and the internet.
No. I mean, there's so many people, elderly people who are technology savvy or certainly willing to learn about it. And I'm just saying there are some who are in a power position who won't or cannot or will not, and that magnifies.
Like to kind of bring Craig's point around, I mean, like, this really, like, if not solve itself, it will become a bigger issue in the future because, like Craig said, there are generations before us that still don't use it, don't want to use it, want nothing to do with it, and that's fine. Let them. Everything they need to live is still there. But in the future, everyone's going to be using the internet. Everyone's going to be using online communities. Everyone's going to be, in some way, attached to these issues that you're talking about right now, which are pretty much in their infancy. At this point, where maybe some at its most vile, but some is still, these are kids that are logging onto the internet for the first time, seeing what the group is doing and imitating what others are doing, be it bad or good. In the future, if it won't solve itself, it's just going to be a bigger issue, because everyone's going to be involved.
Yeah, for sure. I actually very worried about kids growing up and having like everything posted about them online. Like, one of the things that's been sort of a comfort is that my parents were never too big in posting embarrassing information about me when I was a child. So, if a girl who had been in my who would find themselves at my age in my position had that the entirety of their lives to be dug through and sort of sorted and messed with, that's kind of a scary thought. Like, I would actively encourage parents to sort of monitor how much of them their child's lives they're putting online without their permission when they're young. I mean, I have a friend who works at one of the biggest tech companies, and I'm not going to name which, that focuses on facial tracking software. And it's like he has dossiers of people that are like infants now that when they hit 18, they're going to be used for like advertising and all of this stuff focused to them that they never opted to have this information about them out there. So I would encourage parents to consider, how to take online security and identity seriously, not just for themselves, but in case their children ever end up in a situation where they're worried about their information being compromised. Because a lot of stuff can come from social engineering. Things like your mother's maiden name. So say you have good account security, but your mother doesn't, and her maiden name's out there. Now somebody can get into your bank accounts. So I would very much encourage parents to take it seriously for those reasons, even if they're not interested in it for themselves.
Sure. We mentioned swatting was way up there about some of the problems. But in addition to that, what are some of the other problems facing people being targeted by online mobs?
It's kind of a mess because this stuff does bleed into real life. That's one of the reasons why it almost seems silly in these cases to make a divide between the internet and real life. Because as soon as I started getting targeted, people started also going after my family. My dad still gets phone calls from people to this day. So it's not just dealing with yourself, but it's dealing with, what these people, because like part of doxing is just they're trying to dig into people's life and sort of show like, hey, I have all this about you in effort to shut you up or intimidate you. So it's not just yourself you have to worry about. You should be looking at what the people in your life might be facing. So aside from basic account security and information security, you might want to consider getting in touch with old bosses if you're being harassed, because one of the things they like to do is like try and socially engineer that information out of them and call places that you worked, see if they can get more info, things like that. So if you're being really aggressively targeted, that's a concern. Unwanted deliveries is a concern up there with swatting. It's less lethal, obviously, but there's people like to use Domino's delivery service. People like to have Jehovah's Witnesses and Bibles and anything they can have sent to the victim's place to sort of intimidate and encourage them and make them live on edge. So in addition to that, you have just the emotional trauma of dealing with this, which it can be difficult to find someone to talk to who understands, but people absolutely do have to talk, otherwise it'll eat you.
And
I knew you could get pizzas online. I did not know you could get Jehovah's Witnesses.
We've learned a lot about the weird crap you can send to somebody's house without their permission in the last few months.
Wow. So what do you think about the government getting involved with this, or even elected officials, which really pretty much do you think that them taking this thing more seriously is a good thing. Why don't you speak a little bit on that?
Absolutely, as long as people are getting properly educated in tech. I know I don't know if the internet can withstand the memes from another "internet is a series of tubes" statement on the Senate floor. But the fact that they're knowing that there's a problem in the first place, rather than just being like, "Oh, the internet is a thing. I don't understand it, but it's a thing. I sent an email on Tuesday," and they're starting to actually think about this stuff. Is a good sign. I think it means that we're sort of taking our online life as a civil rights issue, as an important part of everyday life. So it's really, really good to see it escalating to that level. I really hope that people are getting properly educated, and I would love to see government officials actually work with people in tech directly, instead of just trying to read up on it. But call us in, talk to us. We'd be happy to help.
And that's true. So in other words, and they can get all this information on the website itself. When you say call us or talk to us, I mean, what are the different venues that? How do you communicate with people on Crash Override?
We primarily communicate through email. The other channels I don't really want to mention, because one of the things that happened when we launched is all these people were like, "Oh, we're going to infiltrate and subvert them," and Lord knows they've been trying, and they're not good at it at all. And at most, all they could do is, I guess, maybe really have secure accounts for a fake person. I don't know. But in very much the trying to get a gotcha situation. So we primarily discuss things through email. I don't really want to go too far into the other inner procedures and processes.
Okay. This would have been perfect to have Charles Tendell. He's
a white hat hacker, which you guys apparently talk to all the time as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're good. They're good folks. I'm sort of actually expanding into that sphere as well, out of kind of necessity lately.
Yeah, he's a certified ethical hacker, and he's one of our correspondents who appears here on the show from time to time, and so it would have been cool to have him on this. I wasn't aware that you were coming on and that's so little time. So, but maybe in a few months we can have you back and have him on the show with us as well.
Cool.
Interesting. So, where do we go here? Okay, so we kept talking about mob harassment. You've defined it and talked about it. Can you be a little more specific? What qualifies something as actually being as a mob harassment?
It usually requires like a lot of it is coordination. Like a lot of these people will sort of congregate in IRC channels or anonymous message boards or forums, and they sort of work together on some level. There's usually some level of coordination or cooperation between multiple individuals. Sometimes it's just as simple as a small group of people doing it. Other times, like in my case, you have people actually trying to use the same sort of techniques that viral marketers use to make harassment go viral. That's what my ex-boyfriend did to start Gamergate. It's kind of a horrifying thought, to be honest, the fact that virality can be applied to things like domestic abuse and not just marketing.
Wow. But most all of us experienced telemarketing, coming up, and then they say, well, press 1, we'll take you off the list, and by pressing 1, I think it tells them that that you're actually there, and so that you get put on more lists. It doesn't seem to want to ever go away. But there are mechanisms out there in technology that can help you fight the fight against telemarketers. But is really, do you consider telemarketing a form of online harassment? Is it really?
That's stretching.
Yeah, I'd say not really. It's usually just crappy marketing. It's about as much harassment as pop-up ads are, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now, so if people, do you have anything else you want to mention that some questions I might not have asked you that you want to let our listeners know about Crash Override and what it is that you do for them?
I would just plug our online resource center, which can be found on our website. It's over, if you want to go to the Tumblr site, because that's where all the guides are. It's CrashOverrideNetwork.tumblr.com. We have a guide up on talking to police and family. We have one up on doxing. We have one up on account security. We should be uploading more as we go, as we learn more and more. So if everybody should take account security seriously. Maybe just spend an evening Googling yourself, see what information is out there about you, and your information can be out there without you even knowing it. A lot of people get doxed from what's known as a third-party information broker, which is still one of those areas of the internet that law hasn't quite caught up to. where people can just sell your information, like your home address, and keep them in repositories that can be searched without you ever saying yes to it. So make sure that you know what's out there about you. Maybe just, you have sort of a skeleton key of sorts. You know what is there about you, or where your home address is, what accounts you have. So really just see how easy it is to find the information. Maybe delete old accounts, like if you have an embarrassing teenage poetry live journal and might be doing something in the public eye, so maybe consider taking that down. But it's always good to know what's out there so you can better control your online presence.
You think that as the laws catch up to things, that things will get better, or are things going to stay the same, or do you think they're going to get worse? What do you think?
I think it honestly depends. I think part of it has to be tech's responsibility and starting to enforce proper terms of service. Like, a lot of people are quick to blame things like online anonymity for these issues, but I think it's really just poor moderation of that anonymity. Anonymity can be hugely powerful and empowering for so many people. Like, I know, for instance, the LGBTQ community being able to talk about their experiences without having to be out in public and possibly in a dangerous situation in doing so. Like, that need for anonymity is there, and privacy should just be a basic human right. So if we don't start self-policing the internet and start taking these issues seriously and finding solutions to them, I'm afraid that maybe someday, like a judge or a higher up in Congress might get doxxed or swatted, and then without understanding the technology in the world we live in, as a result, they'll just see the bad side of it, and then we might be facing overbroad legislation. That's one of my biggest fears, and one of the biggest reasons that we started CrashOverride is because the internet's important, and being able to exist on it is important to anybody with an internet connection. So I'd like to see the internet sort of self-police before we maybe lose what's special about it to overzealous lawmakers.
One of the things that YouTube actually tried to curb some of their harassment, because if you ever read the YouTube comments, don't read the YouTube comments. They can get pretty bad. And one thing they tried was tying in your first and last name into your YouTube account, through your Gmail or Google Plus, what have you. And they were hoping that, putting your first name and your last name out there right next to your horrible, horrible message would kind of curb that a little bit. But, a lot of people didn't like that, and it sounds like you yourself might not be for, getting rid of all the smoke and mirrors. Just, hey, think about what you write before you write it.
Yeah, exactly. Zoe, I'll tell you what, we're pretty much out of time. For our listeners, if you want more information about CrashOverride, you can go to the website, or just go to our website at computeramerica.com and click on the button that says Show Notes. And you'll see today's show, which is March the 16th. It'll be up there, and you'll see CrashOverride and Zoe's name, and we have a link directly to CrashOverride right there in our show notes. So all you have to remember is computeramerica.com, click the show notes button, and that stays up for all time, and then you can check it out for yourself. Zoe, I want to thank you for being here with us for the hour. It was very interesting. I think you're doing some very good work, and we should have you back on again. I think with Charles Tendall would be make for an interesting program. Okay?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Hey, Zoe. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Good night now.
You too.
Bye-bye. All right. So there you go. CrashOverride, the name of the website. Again, Zoe Quinn, co-founder of CrashOverride, and you can check it out for yourself. And again, just go to our show notes page at computeramerica.com, and you can see everything there. And check it out for yourself. Coming up in the second hour, we're going to have giftcards.com is going to be joining us. While we have a minute here, just why don't you check out our contest page at computeramerica.com. Go to our homepage. Under the Interact menu, you'll see Enter Contests. We have a number of contests. It's a lot of fun. Our Logitech contest is up there right now. Just click the register button, and you'll see our 3 great prizes. The third place is the Logitech HD Webcam C310, valued at $50. The second place prize is the Logitech G400S optical gaming mouse, valued at $60. Whoops.
That was my bad.
Okay. And the grand prize is the Logitech X300 mobile wireless stereo speaker, valued at $70. All you have to do on that page is the entry form. You don't have to do anything. Just put your name and email address, comments, click the submit button, and you're done. You don't have to send an email. It'll get you in. The contest runs for 6 weeks. It'll finish on Friday, April the 10th at midnight Eastern Time. Then over the weekend, we'll draw the 3 winning names, and then Monday, April the 13th, we'll announce the 3 big winners. Okay, and then also there's our show reminder winner contest. That's well, actually, the show reminder is our email newsletter that we send out every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And when you subscribe to the show reminder, and it's really simple to do, it puts you in our drawing every Friday. We give away a Logitech T650 rechargeable glass touchpad, about at $80. Every Friday we give one of those away, and the way you win this is by signing up to the newsletter. It's completely free. It's all private. We give your contact information out to no one. Okay. When we're done, we just toss it out and we start the next contest. The only time we'll give out your contact information is if you win. If you win the prize, then we'll give your contact info to Logitech so they can mail you your prize. And that's pretty much it. Okay? It's just that simple. So head over to ComputerAmerica.com, enter in all of our contests. You'll have a lot of fun doing it. And who knows, you might win something really, really nice. You know, it's happened before. It's going to happen again. It might as well be you. Okay? All right.
It can happen again, just not within 1 year. So, you know.
Oh, that's right. Well, if you win, obviously, then yeah, a year has to go by before you can win again. We really haven't had that kind of a problem here. We have a lot of people who participate.
No, not really.
Yeah, and but we have to kind of say that, you know. Otherwise, it could happen. So we have to be.
Don't be too lucky, is what we're trying to say. Take it to Vegas, not here.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, and on the IRN Radio Network. We've got, as I said, giftcards.com. Now, giftcards.com, you know, I'm sure a lot of you walked into, you can buy these gift cards, and they're pretty much generic. They're standard, you know, and it'll allow you to get, iTunes has them. I mean, there are a lot of, but you know. Giftcards.com is an online service where you can buy personalized gift cards. That makes a really nice gift, something fun. You can put your own picture on them. I mean, they're kind of cool things you can do. And we're going to have Shelley Hunter here. She's the spokesperson for giftcards.com. She's the gift card girlfriend. She's going to be joining us in the upcoming hour. You listen to the Computer America Show. Stay with us. We're going to be right back in a moment.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And again, Zoe Quinn, co-founder of CrashOverride, with us in the first hour. Very interesting, and they're doing obviously doing some good work. So we're glad to have her on the show. Again, you can listen to if you missed it, you can listen to it on our archives page at ComputerAmerica.com. You can listen to most all of our shows at ComputerAmerica.com. We have most everything archived there. So we're going to get. What did you think of the News to Bulletin review from Marty? And we have a new one coming up at the second hour too.
Yeah, no, I liked it.
Yeah, exactly. We got another one coming up in the second hour of the show. We always have 2 of them from him. He's a fun guy, and he does some really interesting news bulletins. Sometimes it'll be really high tech, and sometimes it'll be very low tech. You know, but still with an interesting twist. He'll talk about tools, but they'll have like a little bit of a high tech bent to them. So.
Yep. Oh, and by the way, speaking of low tech and high tech, real quick, I don't know if you remember we did a story about the beehives, and yeah, it was like a beehive thing, and then there were like the spigot and these tubes, and you could actually drain the honey.
Yeah.
Like the days after we did that story, everyone picked up on it, from CNN to other outlets that are escaping me right now. Just everyone seemed to pick up on that one.
Well, they're all listening to our show. They said, "Hey, that was
They have to be.
yeah." I mean, that's it. So uh, uh, okay. So as I said, we have another news test bulletin review from Marty Winston coming up in this hour as well, and let's see, what is it? It's actually going to be Castle OS. Ooh, it's about an operating system called Castle OS. So he'll be talking about that. Okay. Anything else before we get started with our second guest this hour?
No, I think we've waxed nostalgic enough.
Okay. All right. I didn't know we were waxing nostalgic.
I was.
Yeah. Well,
nostalgic is my surfboard.
Okay. 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 Year after year, gift cards are voted the most preferred gift of the season, especially holiday seasons, as well as a year-round favorite for birthdays, thank you gifts, and other celebrations. Did you know that, Ben? I mean, you know,
I've read the statistics that it's like whenever gift cards usually come up, it's how much is on how many gift cards do people have that has gone unspent, and you know, so maybe if gift cards had your face on it, you wouldn't lose it so easily. But yeah, gift cards are indeed very, very popular.
Well, the first thing I look when I get a gift card is how much is it for? Yeah. I guess
I will be giving you $3.41.
I don't know if you can get a gift card like that. We'll have to find. Yeah, exactly. Now, though you can find retail brands like MasterCard and Visa gift cards in stores, the only place to buy them customized, having your face on or something, is online. Adding personal images, messages, and more can turn ordinary gift cards into one-of-a-kind gifts that people often keep even after the value has been used. You know, if you were into scrapbooking, that would be something. You know, someone sends you a Visa card that has, you know, your grandmother's face on it or something. That would be kind. I wouldn't throw that. Would you throw out a gift card that had your grandmother's face on it? I don't know. I don't know. Or maybe your significant other. I think that'd be good. Anyway, joining us in this hour to explain exactly how all this works is Shelley Hunter. Shelley is the gift card girlfriend and spokesperson for giftcards.com. Shelley, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, and we're glad you can make it. You heard my kind of an overview, but why don't you tell our listeners what exactly are digital gift cards?
Digital gift cards. Okay, well, speaking of the high-tech, low-tech you were just talking about, when we think of traditional gift cards right now, people often think of the plastic gift cards that you can buy at the store or at your favorite restaurant, and even like you were talking about, the customized gift cards that we sell. Mm-hmm. Digital gift cards are really kind of the future of gifting. And it's essentially the same thing, but you're going to get that virtual gift card via email or a text message or even your social media account.
Oh, okay. So there's no physical card that you carry in your wallet then?
Correct. There's no physical card. You can, if you feel more comfortable carrying something, you can generally print the electronic card or the email that it came on and carry that with you if you want, but there's really no need anymore. Most digital gift cards, most people have a smartphone, and if they can pull up an email on their smartphone, they can pull up the gift card as well. In addition to having apps and things that make it even easier, you can always, if you can access it via your phone, you can use it via your phone.
You know, this sounds like what iTunes did to records. It sounds to me like it's like the iTunes version of digital of gift cards. I mean, it's virtual. You don't there's no medium.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no medium on which the money resides anymore. It's out there in cyberspace. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, yeah, we're moving towards this world of mobile payments, and honestly, if you think about it, when you see, the younger generation, what do they have in their hand all the time? It's their phone, right? It's not their wallet. It's not their purse. Heaven forbid, my teenager would never carry a purse.
Really?
But she will not leave her. Oh my gosh, no, that would be so embarrassing, Mom. But she will totally. Her phone is with her all the time.
Is that,
And so, you know,
that's like a watch? I grew up wearing a watch, but kids today.
Oh, those darn generic kids.
What do you
well, they
watch?
want a watch, but they want one that's attached to their phone, right? The new iPhone watch.
Yeah, that's right. The Apple Watch.
Yeah.
So,
exactly. So, you know, so if you think about it, really, where gifting is moving, where the next generation is headed, and so they always have their phone with them. You talked earlier about the number of unused gift cards. Oftentimes that happens because people just forget they have them. They forget to bring the gift card with them. But if the gift card's on your phone and you always have your phone with you, you're just not going to forget to use it.
Really, I guess that would make sense. Now you're right, because there's so many versions of this. I mean, the iPhones now have the wallet, you know, that you can keep these things. They have all these different virtual forms of currency. I'm not talking about Bitcoin or anything, but I'm just talking about.
No.
We're not talking about that.
Google Wallet.
Google Wallet.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
or the passbook, you know.
Exactly.
And then in addition to that, you've got like actual gift card apps that are there to help you organize. They were initially created to help you organize your plastic gift cards and just keep track of the balances on those. But now it just makes it even easier to put your digital gift cards on your app so that you can both, you know, just have a place to keep it organized on your phone and be able to use it quickly and be able to get updated balances.
But still, sometimes, I don't know, I mean, if I'm going to give a gift to somebody, I want to hand them something physical or mail them something physical. And so digital cards, in that way, I would think maybe gift cards would still be a good way to do it. So tell us a little bit about what gift cards .com has to offer.
So at giftcards.com, you know, my favorite product that we sell there is the personalized gift card. It is the ability to upload an image and put it on a plastic physical gift card. And, you know, people love them. When you go to a party, for example, and you hand somebody a gift card, it typically just, you know, is kind of this, oh, thank you so much. And but with these,
you know, it's almost up there by giving somebody. No, I'm sorry. It's like giving people money. You know, here's $50, and they would try to beautify it. They would give you these little gift envelopes that you could put the bill in, and through the little oval in the front you could see, the president, so you would know what. But I'm sorry, it's still money.
Right.
You know.
It is still money, and you know, and really, what you're giving is an experience. Whether you're giving money or a gift card, I always say that with money, if you give me money, that is going to groceries or gas long before I ever think to treat myself to anything special. If you give me a gift card, though, to my favorite clothing store or a restaurant, you're at least giving me an indulgent opportunity. And so, in that way, gift cards are a little bit different. But with the Visa gift cards, they are closer to money because you can use them anywhere. The difference being, though, is, like you said earlier, if it's got a picture of your grandmother on it, you are more likely to cherish it. But more than that, like, my kids love it when I put a picture of them playing baseball on the gift card. It's almost like a trading card.
Or you could get a trading card and actually put it on the image of it. You could, it'd be sort of
we have to have the rights to the image, so you can't really, really put Michael Jordan on a gift card unless you're Michael Jordan or his mom. But but trust me, your own kids, seeing their own picture of them, kicking a soccer goal, they will keep that gift card.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought of that. So any kind of a celebrity you can't put on the gift card because their image is somehow protected or copyrighted or what?
Yeah, it's copyrighted. You don't have, there's certain restrictions in terms of what you can put on a gift card. You have to own the rights to something. You can't put a logo on. You can't put, here's an interesting one, dead animals, for example.
Really? Wow.
When I first read that guideline, I was like, what is this for? But it's hunting pictures and things like that,
so
that's
awful.
Just really, keep it clean, but within that bounds, there's so many images you can put in with kids, pictures of the kids, pictures of them doing their favorite sports or hobbies, your grandpa working in the garage, just things that you want to capture. And then for me, often that thing is, maybe it's a picture of grandpa working in the garden, and you're giving him the gift card so that he can, buy more supplies for the garden. So it would be an alternative to, say, like a Home Depot or a Lowe's card. This one, he can choose where he wants to shop, and you're giving him just a little gift suggestion without, putting a box around him and saying he has to shop there.
Yeah, although you're going to force somebody to go to a place if you get them, let's say, I don't know, a Home Depot card, or, a gift card, or
right.
a Target gift card. I mean, you're then you have to shop at that particular location. Have you found at giftcards.com that people are less inclined to give targeted gift cards and are giving? I mean, that's one of the reasons you're tempted to give money to somebody that you don't know that well. You say or you just give them money and they can go get what they want. But if I get them a targeted card, it'll only give them iTunes songs or something. And so what's selling better?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a trend towards these, what they're called open loop gift cards. I mean, they can be used anywhere. And I think that goes back to, maybe initially there was some hesitation over giving someone a gift card for fear it would look impersonal. And so by showing, look, I got you a gift card to your favorite store. I know you well enough to have picked that out. I just want you to be able to buy your own thing. And I think as we've gotten more and more used to gift cards and we see the benefits and the convenience, we're more open to saying, look, I maybe have gotten you a Home Depot gift card for the last 3 years. Now you get to choose where you shop. But for that personalization aspect, I'm going to put a picture on it. And so you'll see that I still put some time and effort into this gift, but you have the ultimate flexibility in deciding where to spend it.
That's the other thing. Again, when you give people money, they go, well, how much effort did they put into this? All right, thank you. I appreciate the $100 bill. That's wonderful, and I'm thankful. But how hard was it for you? But if you give them a Visa card that's got your picture on it, well, they know. Well, you had to at least sit in front of a computer. You had to do some effort. Take a little time.
Oh, yeah.
Take a little time out of your schedule to to create this image and this gift, and so I think it would probably be a little bit more appreciated. I don't know, Ben, would you feel if somebody gave you a $100 bill or a $100 Visa card with their picture on it? What would you feel?
Well, obviously the one that honestly took more effort to do. So even if it's easy, just them thinking about it, not just saying, "Oh, Ben, money. He likes money," and going on your way. But no. Even a little bit of effort goes a long way.
Yeah, and you still get that same amount of flexibility, but it just shows you did a little something extra. And, think about it. It's so current. I mean, we're taking selfies everywhere we go. People are constantly taking pictures of the experiences they're having, and now you just have another place you can put those, turn it into a gift without it needing to be like some other personalized object that is not as useful. If you think about all those products you can buy, the fleece blanket that has a picture on it or something like that, that's still it's still a personal gift, but the person has to have a place for it in their home. This is a personalized gift that with the complete amount of flexibility to go spend it however you want.
Yeah, Ben, your mom wants to say, what about a handmade quilt? She said, would you appreciate that more?
It wasn't bad.
No, not handmade. Not handmade, but one that's like, screen printed.
There you go. All right, so it's different, and obviously you have the flexibility, and the variability, obviously, of kind of crafting together something that's personalized with this service, and I like it. I mean, I think that it's a lot different. It's some effort. At least it shows some effort on the person's part that they're doing that. That they're putting some thought behind it. And I
right, and we also sell, like the digital gift cards to brands, to Amazon, to Nike, and things like that. We still make that available because, I mean, I personally, obviously, I'm a gift card girlfriend. I'm a little obsessed with gift cards, but I still want to have my flexibility. So, like with personalized gift cards, I always will give that at a coach's gift or a teacher thank you gift. That's my go-to gift because coaches are always really impressed and pleased with them. But, if you want to think e-gift cards, you want to deliver something quickly, I'll say, too, that I think the world of electronic gifting that we're moving in to has created a different type of gifting opportunity. So I don't know if you're familiar with, have you seen like Starbucks has the tweet a coffee?
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yep.
Ben, have you seen it?
Yep.
Okay.
So if you think about that, that's not like a traditional gift. That's sort of like a, hey, I'm thinking about you. Hope you have a good day. I'm sending you a coffee.
Okay.
With e-gift cards, you can have that same experience. Like, I know you're taking your kids to the movie tonight, and you could e-gift card them movie tickets, and kind of pick up the tab for the night. And it's different. It might not be their birthday present, but it is their I'm thinking about you, and I want to do something special for you present.
Very, very nice. Right. Now, are there any caveats? I mean, what should consumers be mindful of with digital gift cards?
Digital gift cards. Okay, so digital gift cards are super easy to use online, obviously, because you've got a code, you're going to go to a shopping cart, and you're going to enter the code. That's really easy to do.
Okay.
The only place I've not been able to use an e-gift card, like a Visa, is if I go someplace and the cashier is not willing to key enter the gift card number.
Really?
So,
yeah.
So
You mean I can go into
Go
a
ahead.
store? I go into a store and I have my digital gift card and said, "Here's and she says, "No, I'm not going to do it." He says, "Well, excuse me, would you bring over the manager here?" I mean, that'd be my first reaction.
Yeah, that would be up to you to do. I mean, literally, there's like a fast food restaurant in my town. I just drove up. Don't judge me for going to the fast food drive-through, but there was a sign like written in Sharpie that says, "We will not key enter credit card numbers." So it's kind of the same thing applying there, and I'm not sure why that policy is, but that's the only time I've had any problem using an electronic gift card in a physical store. But most often I find that, especially big stores like Target and Walmart, those stores that are used to handling a wide array of transactions, I just hand my phone to the cashier and they know what to do. Whether the gift card app has a barcode you can scan or the code has to be key entered, I really have not had any problems in stores using electronic gift cards.
Right. Now, if you have a company, can you kind of you have an option for bulk cards where you can have your company logo and all that stuff and
yeah.
Tell us about that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like reward programs are super great for that. Just giving people that flexibility, of being able to pick how they want their reward. I also think that with there's another opportunity for your messaging to come through in a way that doesn't, wind up giving the employee something that they don't want. For example, a friend of mine, the company gave them all a pair of Prada sunglasses, which is
nice.
a really nice gift.
Sure.
However, they'd given everybody the same style. And so rather than it being this really great gift, it was like, no, there's no personalization. We don't all want to be wearing the same sunglasses. This isn't that great of a gift. So it turned in demotivational.
Unless you're from the Matrix.
Right. Yeah. But it really wasn't the effect they wanted to have. But you could, kind of give that same messaging, hey, the future's so bright here, we all have to wear shades, with a gift card that they can use to go purchase their own sunglasses if they want, or something else. But you can give that same reward messaging and then still have the complete flexibility to let the employee pick how they want to be rewarded.
Okay. All right. So that is nice. So now, I know that the big thing right now they're talking about is Apple Pay. Apple Pay here, Apple Pay here. Is there any thoughts of tying into that, because it's all about digital currency. Is there any kind of any thoughts about with Apple Pay?
I'm all for the merging of the e-gift cards. I do think it's right now you've got Apple Pay that's supposed to be blending your credit card accounts or your bank accounts, right? So you have this way to pay digitally.
Right.
Gift cards are the same thing. So the more integrated, the better off we're all going to be. I noticed I have Google Wallet on my phone,
right,
and I was able to put a gift card in there to kind of keep track of it, but I wasn't able to use it at the store to pay with it. So in that case, I had to go, use my own app or just, key enter the code. I really think the race is going to go to the mobile payment system that becomes the most universal and really makes things flexible. I mean, I sat there trying my Google Pay 3 or 4 times to my kids' utter embarrassment, only to have them finally tell me, Google Pay only works with the Android phone. And I was like, oh, okay, so sorry. So, but here it is, like I'm all being trendy, and I'm going to try this, and I'm going to do it. And so now I've got Google Wallet on my phone that I really can't use. I put my gift cards in there just to test that functionality out, but it's not really going to work for me. So I do think, we're definitely hitting that point where some winner has to emerge, and gift cards will be part of it.
Okay. So I understand you're obviously the spokesperson for giftcards.com. What's your role with giftcards.com?
So interestingly enough, I was a customer first. I actually ordered personalized gift cards. I have created a website called Gift Card Girlfriend, and I really felt that this gift cards is this emerging thing for people in the world, but we don't get a lot of advice and expertise and like the questions you're asking me, or how much money to put on a gift card. People want to know people have those questions, and there's no place for them to turn. And so I really wanted to be a consumer guide to gift cards. So I created my own website, and then giftcards.com acquired me, and I've been lucky enough to partner up with them. And now I'm the content manager. I have the opportunity to give all that great advice and help people navigate the world of gift cards while also representing a really great product, and one that I happen to really love.
Right, I see. I'm looking at the website now. Gift Card Girlfriend blog. Free printable gift card holder is an Easter egg hunt. I mean, this looks very cool. You've really you've kind of integrated everything, and now they acquired you. You're part of giftcards.com, and you work with that. And
right.
Blog. You have tips.
Yeah, and I love it. Yeah, I get the chance to really help people gift with confidence. And whether you use our products or not, I'm going to help you navigate that world. But I do think we have some of the best products there are, and I've tried many of them. So it's a good place for me to be.
All right. So let me ask you this. So obviously, you have an affiliation with gift cards, but I'm going to ask you this: why should consumers go to giftcards.com versus, let's say, there are other websites that sell gift cards out there?
Well, because we really are a one-stop shop. So we have the personalization where you can have the plastic have anything you want on it. You can have a branded gift card that also can be personalized. So if you want a JCPenney gift card, for example, you can personalize it with a picture and the JCPenney logo, and I'm not sure any place else does that. I'm sure we also sell electronic Visa gift cards, and I haven't found another competitor that sells that. So whether you want plastic or you want electronic, we have a wide array of things to meet your needs. So just from a convenience standpoint, if you want options, then go to giftcards.com.
Okay, well, that's before we say goodnight, Shelley, is there anything else that we might not have mentioned that you might want to tell our listeners about giftcards.com?
Yeah, we do have a lot of free printables. We make things available to you, like for Easter, if you're looking to give somebody a gift card, we've got some great designs you can choose from, and we make printables like gift card holders that you can download for free. So we can send it for you, but if you want to get a little more crafty, if you want to add a little personal touch to your gift cards, then you can go to our website and you can download the free gift card holders. I hope you buy our card to go with them, but if you don't, I still want you to have a positive gift card experience, so we make those available to you as well.
These are very cool. I'm looking at some of the King of Hearts. I like that. You got the Queen of Hearts, Valentine's Day. You have Thank You, Wedding, New Baby, Thanks Coach, Holidays, and basically what you're printing out when you select one of these is the template. Or the instructions on how to actually make the folder, and it kind of takes you step by step.
Yeah, exactly. And now we'll do it for you if you want. We have a custom greeting card that goes with it. But for people who just want to be a little more hands-on, they want to add their own ribbon and stuff, but they don't want to start from scratch, this is a DIY little part of the website that can inspire you, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you want more information about the giftcards.com, just go to our website at computeramerica.com and click on the show notes button, and you'll see today's show again, March the 16th, and in the second hour, you'll see giftcards.com. You'll see Shelley Hunter's name there, and just click on the gift cards name, and it will actually take you to the website, and you can check out all the things that we're talking about here on tonight's program. Really very cool stuff, and I like it. I mean, it's like 21st century. You know, we're moving along. We're getting away from giving the traditional money in the little sleeve with the oval cutout, so you can see so you can see Ben Franklin's face, and see,
hopefully we're taking you to the future, but letting you hold on to the past a little bit longer if you still want to use plastic.
There it is, exactly. Well, again, Shelley, I want to thank you for being with us here tonight on the program, and best of luck to you, and thanks for being here tonight on Computer America.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, you take care. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
You too.
All right. All right. So there you go. All right. So that is giftcards.com, and you check it out for yourself. So Ben, we have some interesting news stories.
We do.
Why don't you tease a little bit of what we're going to be talking about here? Some interesting. Yeah.
If I can remember clearly, it's drawing a blank right now. But we have some great news stories that I'm getting right about now. Apparently, the controversy about genetic manipulation. Remember, all this month, even though the month is halfway through, all this month is for science. So we're going to have some articles that are largely science-based, and one of them is the good old-fashioned. This time, not so much stem cell research, but more what are the ethics behind altering human embryos. Maybe if you want your baby to have blue eyes, maybe you want your baby to have this or that. What is the actual ramification of it? So, article like that. We're also going to have how Hertz, the car company, they want to put cameras and microphones in cars that you rent.
Oh, that's not good.
Just to make sure you're not doing anything weird or wrong with their, with their stuff.
And then also we have Steam for Linux goes past the 1,000 game mark.
Yeah, that's a great beginning to the end of there are no games for Linux.
And so we also and then also a leaked Windows 10 build brings peer-assisted updates and app downloads too. So these are some of the stories I'm going to be talking to you. And of course, all these computer and technology news stories brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. We got a brand new news bulletin review from Marty Winston coming up, and then we'll continue on. You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network. Ben and I are going to do computer technology news. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. You're listening to the Computer America Show here on the Blog Talk Radio Network. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down a special number. 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major
calling back into a live show. We are reconnecting you now.
1-866-663-MyTV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MyTV. 1-866-663-MyTV.
Attune your auditory channel and we'll begin. This is Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America, this time Castle OS. The Wild West of home control devices, controllers, protocols, and incompatibilities very much limits a user's ability to make significant things happen, especially when you try to act natively with more than one try. Castle OS is software that addresses a growing list of third-party controllers and home control protocols, bringing with it some sophisticated ways to consider the conditions of sensors and schedules and more. Much of it is like a rules language, some of it like a scripting language, but all of it approachable with no requirement for any major programming skills. On Windows, as on many mobile platforms, it runs as an HTML app, largely browser agnostic. We like that it's very good at setting up sensor-centric automation. With enough sensors, workspaces become to some extent self-aware, and there's some level of autonomy in simply setting up stimulus response instructions. Bottom line, in the Tower of Babel of home control systems, Castle OS offers a facile Rosetta Stone with a dollop of finesse. This is Marty Winston with the News Tips Bullet Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 33 minutes past the hour here on a beautiful, beautiful Monday. I say it's beautiful because this is the last 30 minutes of said Monday, so, you know, it's behind you. We just finished talking to the gift card girlfriend. Lucky that we were actually able to get her back on. We know we scheduled her once before, but that fell through. So we got her on finally. And then before that, we had Zoe Quinn talking all about that support network. And but now, in this last half hour, we have some time to cover some news that has been happening over the weekend and today.
So let's do it. All right. Tonight's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free.
Yep.
You were ready, but I had it already.
I'm sure.
Yeah. This first story that we're going to do tonight, as I mentioned, that Steam for Linux goes past the 1,000 game mark. And as Ben said, you know, so much for there are no games on Linux. Now, the client was released in February of 2013. A couple of years after that official release, Valve's Steam for Linux initiative is making steady progress. It's picking up steam. Oh, see what I did? It recently notched up significant milestones when the number of Linux-compatible games on Steam breached the 1,000 mark. Wow. Granted, this number still pales in comparison to Windows' tally of nearly 4,800 compatible games, but we believe both Valve and Linux users would have gladly taken it had someone whispered it to them at the time of Steam's release on Linux. And for all that it's worth, the rate at which Linux-compatible games are appearing on Steam is a gallop compared to the crawl of Steam-powered Mac gaming, which has labored its way to just over 1,600 titles in the nearly 5 years that the Steam for OS X client has been available. Okay, so the question is can Valve prove the naysayers wrong once again and successfully orchestrate the invasion of Linux into the living room through SteamOS? A Linux distro built around Steam, and Steam machines, pre-built SteamOS-powered gaming PCs. The success of these two initiatives is Linux users' best bet of ever seeing a critical mass of AAA titles for their OS of choice. So, there you go.
Well, yeah. If anyone was going to bring video games to Steam or to Linux, it was going to be Steam. They've been very supportive of Steam in the past, so you know, for them to bring new games to Linux, it's not really that hard because most of the games are run in app, like they're run in the Steam environment. Just like, you know, some things are run in your browser, this is run through the Steam client. So if anyone had the ability to do it, it was going to be Steam. So good to see that they are.
Yep. Okay, good. All right. What's next?
What's next? How about this one? We teased it at the beginning. Stop editing human embryos for now, say geneticists. Yep,
Okay.
it's a bit sciencey. There are some ethical issues to work out first. So it's no secret that scientists can now edit genes. Resolving disease-causing mutations could help cure some of the world's most deadly diseases, such as HIV and AIDS and hemophilia. In the past, these modifications have been limited to genes in non-reproductive cells, but a number of researchers around the globe are poised to conduct the same editing in human embryos, which have genes that affect the entire rest of the organism. According to a coalition of American geneticists, that's a terrible idea. So editing human embryos is problematic because it can have long-term unintended effects. The geneticists wrote in a commentary published last week in Nature, researchers use nucleus, an enzyme that snips DNA into smaller pieces to make changes in a cell's genetic makeup. But its use is still not down to a perfect science. That's what you like to hear about science.
Yeah.
It works differently depending on its concentration and the type of cell. With so much left up to chance, these enzymes could work on parts of the genome other than those targeted, which could have major unintended consequences on the embryo on the embryo that don't become obvious until many years after the baby is born. These genetic modifications are done without the embryo's consent, for obvious reasons, and can be passed down to future generations.
I would like to see how you get an embryo's consent. Here, embryo, you need to sign this.
It involves documentation in triplicate and a notary. So a number of countries, most in Western Europe, have bans on editing the genome of human embryos, but not all do. For parents looking to modify the genes of their future child, one is not quite sure what quote-unquote consent would look like. These are conversations that need to be had among researchers, ethicists, and the public before this type of work becomes widespread. Until these standards are set, they hope that those working with human embryos around the world will take a break from their work, at least for now. So this is one of those, one of those head scratchers. How ethical are we really being about the whole editing of human embryos?
I want my child to have blue eyes rather than brown.
Like, it's blue eyes rather than brown, but it's also curing some diseases. It's finding perhaps genes that cause scoliosis. It's finding little imperfections that have a long-term implication.
I think it's a general consensus of the medical community that the future of medicine lies in genes. That everything. Of all diseases can be eventually eradicated with gene therapy, but they all concede on that. But it's down the road a piece.
But yeah, I think that's where we are right now. We're starting to see that, but at this moment, because we're kind of taking the shotgun approach. They said that they use nucleus, this type of chemical that goes in and breaks apart the DNA and lets them work on bits of the DNA. Like, that kind of technology, it lets them do what they're trying to do, but we don't know the full range of consequences because you can't go in very, very early and say, okay, we're going to edit this one gene, this one little part, this one little gene for autism, and we're just going to go in, cut it out, put a new one in, and call it a day. They're going with a shotgun approach, which really they don't understand completely yet. So I think that's where the ethical conversation has to come from, is that, hey, we know what we're trying to do is good. We're trying to help babies be born without diseases that will cripple them in life. But on the other hand, we really don't know what we're doing out there. So, like, what's the trade-offs?
Yep. Well, there are.
Yep.
Okay. Well, when Apple had their spring forward keynote, I think it was last Monday, they led that whole thing up with HBO Now, and everybody was really excited. Here is a service, internet only. You don't have to have a subscription to cable, and you can get HBO with HBO Now. Well, guess what? to Engadget, Cablevision will offer HBO's standalone streaming service to its internet users. Now, the story. This is from Engadget. You'd think that cable companies would be the mortal enemies of internet-only TV services, but that's apparently not always the case. Cablevision has forged a deal to offer HBO Now to both its internet subscribers and those who use its optimum Wi-Fi access points. Now, there are no details as to pricing or whether or not the offering will be available at the moment HBO Now launches in April, but it won't be surprising if the service costs you about around the $15 per month announced at Apple's March 9th event. Will other internet providers follow suit? Well, it's hard to say. While HBO Now is potentially useful for preventing would-be cord cutters from ditching cable altogether by letting them switch to cheaper TV packages, telecoms like Comcast and Verizon haven't been fond of online video services in the past. See, this is it. I mean, you can get HBO Now for $15 and drop the HBO service on your cable, which is like $40 or $50, and get everything for $15. It just wouldn't. Yeah, so, but evidently, Cablevision does. They don't want. They're not letting go. They want to be on. They want to be on any profit that can be made, and if they have to make a deal with HBO Now to offer their service on the internet as an internet subscriber, first of all, it's going to be very difficult to stop them. I guess technically they could stop them if you're on a Cablevision and you try to go to the HBO Now, because they can block and say, sorry, no, you can't go there.
See, PlayStation Network also is trying to do that with some of the other services, and they got a huge backlash from that.
Yeah, but they could do that. But instead of doing the backlash, they're saying, okay, well, we can't stop this juggernaut, so let's get on the bandwagon. So we can't stop HBO Now, so let's at least offer it, to our subscribers for $15 a month, what they would normally do, and then maybe we won't lose. We'll get some of the action, rather than nothing. I guess something is better than nothing. I guess that's the philosophy that they're going here with here.
I guess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, there it is.
Yep. So let's see. About 10 minutes left. Let's do this one that could be kind of creepy and affects you if you are a heavy traveler. Hurts. Yes, hurts. It don't hurts. Maybe it do hurts. Thank you.
He's here all week, folks.
Hertz installs cameras and microphones in rental cars. Technically incorrect. Some of Hertz's never-lost systems now have cameras and mics, which the company claims it doesn't intend to use at this time. So it seems that Hertz has gone all Avis and is suddenly trying harder. The only question is, what is it trying harder to do? The company has been installing cameras and microphones in its never-lost navigational systems. They're not in all the rental cars. They're only in the never-lost 6 version introduced last year. But clearly, the presence of them might make one or two drivers wonder about their capabilities. At the beginning of the month, the Telegraph noted that these cameras, which point toward the driver, and the reality that they can't be removed. Drivers were becoming suspicious and that they could be, or even were, being spied upon. Clearly, in some U.S. states, this might be legal. However, surveillance has become such an all-embracing reality that some people are wondering where it's going to stop and how you can make it stop. They said that Hertz told Fusion that around 1 out of every 8 cars has a camera installed, but no, the company wasn't actually going to use them. Yeah. So it seems like they've been installing these products that at first glance look to be,
it's a little creepy. I mean,
it is a little creepy.
You want to be driving a car and you don't know if somebody's watching you while you're driving.
And I think what they don't like about it is that they're cameras, but they're cameras that cannot be, uninstalled. So
yeah, I mean, you might do something while you're driving that you don't want other people to see you doing. Then.
All the time.
I know. And why would you want someone spying on you?
I'm already suspicious of the traffic cams that you see every other intersection, and now there's a camera right in my face. That's not good. And plus, that's not even a good angle for me.
No, I hate those traffic cams because so many times, they got more false reports from those traffic cams, people showing up in traffic court saying, I didn't do this or I didn't do that. They've taken a lot of them down, but a lot of them are still up. I know in our area where we live, that they move them around from different intersections. But
See, the funny thing about traffic cameras is, and this might be a widely known secret, is if you just show up to court with a lawyer and say, hey, this wasn't me, or hey, I don't believe this was fair, they'll pretty much drop it regardless of what they have you on camera. It's just they're counting on the people who don't have the time, who don't want to,
exactly.
Who don't want to take time out of their day to fight this and just pay the $50.
And not like that, it's going to cost you a heck of a lot more, $50, to take time out of your day and hire a lawyer, no less, to come to the traffic court. It's going to cost you a lot more than $50.
So it's just a nice little money-making venture.
Yeah, it really stinks. I don't like them. I have a TomTom navigator, and it's set up so it lets me know when I go to another section that the traffic camera is there, and it'll go bing, 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 and it'll let me know, alerts it, But I don't know. It doesn't really change the way I drive. I mean, not that I was driving wrong before, but now,
I just don't like the idea that maybe they're going to be using these cameras to kind of monitor and say, oh, well, our passive microphones picked up on the word cocaine and some other words, and they're like, oh, and we're going to charge you an extra $3,000 because we feel you endangered our vehicle. Like, there are capabilities with this technology that probably aren't for the betterment of you.
Yeah, I would. It's just a way to make money. Oh.
When will it end?
No justice. Okay, this next story from Maximum PC, Paul Lilly. Cougar chases small form factor market with QBX computer case. Cougar today announced the arrival of its QBX, the most advanced compact gaming case around. According to Cougar, there are at least 3 reasons the QBX stands out from the crowd. First, its compact dimensions. And second, on Cougar's list is expandability. While small in stature, it has a big appetite for hardware that can be stuffed up with up to 5 storage drives, that's hard drives or solid-state drives, a long graphics card, okay, up to 13.77 inches, a standard ATX power supply, and a slim optical drive. And Cougar's third reason is cooling. The QBX supposedly offers the best cooling of its class on the market, a claim Cougar makes based on the case's 7 fan mounts and liquid cooling supports. On the case's 7 fan mounts and liquid cooling support, there's also a dedicated PDSU compartment to prevent hot air from affecting the other components, along with wide ventilation opening with dust filters. Look for the QBX to be available in April, and so it's kind of cool looking case,
It seems like for gaming, smaller form factor seems to be a hot button topic right now.
Yeah, it could be. I saw this other story here that's on that same page that I like to do.
Sure.
It's from Paul Lilly. A beautiful curved monitor now available for sale to tycoons and fat cats. Want to know what's even better than Ostendo's 43-inch curved CRVD curved display? Having 3 of them side by side. That's what. It isn't cheap, and at $6,500 each, 3 of them will run almost $20,000. That's a lot of scratch, but then again, he has a video of it. According to Ostendo, the curved monitor measures 43 inches and offers an ultra-wide 32:10 aspect ratio, which is 180% wider than a 16 by 9 display and 240% wider than 4 by 3 monitors. It works with existing video cards. That's nice. You don't need a special. Most of these things require special video cards. This works with existing video cards and doesn't require any special hardware, software, or drivers other than a graphics card powerful enough to push gaming pixels at 2880 by 900 resolution. This is a slick-looking monitor. I don't know if you see a picture of it here, but it's a really cool-looking monitor. I like to see that on your desk. That would look really neat.
It would look really nice.
Yeah, really, really nice. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Story. How about No, see, I have these really cool stories that are, again, conversations, but we really don't have time for a long, drawn-out conversation. So how about this one? Cuba, Craig. I'm sure you are familiar with Cuba.
I've never been there, but I know
You've
about
never
it.
been there, but you have heard of Cuba.
I've heard of Cuba, yes.
You've heard of Cuba. Good. Okay. This is a story about Cuba. And less than 2 months after Netflix opened up its service to Cuba, the island nation now apparently has a new, free public Wi-Fi space. For
Really?
years, the communist country has been notoriously expensive, slow, and restrictive internet access. But with relations between the U.S. and Cuba starting to thaw, that's beginning to change. As of the last few weeks, according to the Associated Press, there's a new government. A new government-approved hotspot at the culture center run by the Cuban artist Quecho. The artist told the Newswire that it's a shared network running on its own personal 2 megabits per second connection, and while the project is a novel one, such a connection is almost certainly not as fast. It's not fast enough to watch House of Cards. He declined to reveal how much he pays, but a DSL service at that bandwidth generally runs around $900 a month.
Oh,
Let that sink in. $900 a month.
For 2 megabit per second.
For 2 megabits.
Oh my gosh.
Cuba has a way to go. So apparently the password painted on a large mural is apparently long. So apparently it translates roughly to here no one surrenders. It's a nod to the battle cry of the Cuban Revolutionary Commander, and yeah, it's a noble project at 2 megabits per second. I'm not sure, how much they're really going to be enjoying it. They can attempt to, but at $900 a month, they have a ways to go.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, all right. Well, here's a story. Again, this is from the Wall Street Journal and Engadget. Apple's TV services due this fall with about 25 channels. Okay. With the thawing of the spring, we have a renewal of the old favorite Apple TV rumors. After Recode suggested a month ago that Apple might go its own way, Sling TV style, instead of working with cable companies, the Wall Street Journal is reporting similar deals. According to the Wall Street Journal, Apple is negotiating to launch a slim package of 25 or so channels for streaming this fall for $30 to $40. But there's a twist. There's no negotiation so far with Comcast-owned NBC Universal because of a falling out between the cable giant and the tech company. The rumors go so far as to claim that Apple felt Comcast was intentionally stringing it along while it developed its X1 cable box. So far, Sling seems to be doing okay without Sci-Fi and the rest, but we'll see if that changes after the Expanse launches. Sci-Fi Channel, of course, with the Apple TV price drop, because they went from $99 to $69. With an Apple TV price drop and similar services either launched or on the way, will move the Apple TV rumor alert level up to a still skeptical chartreuse. Okay. All right. So we're still waiting on Apple TV. It's a cool little box, but the prices come down. It's more competitive.
Yeah, the price come down, and they're getting new content all the time. So yeah, people are looking forward to it.
Yeah, I would think so. I got we got one quick last story here about Windows 10. There's a leaked Windows 10 build. Nah.
How about Tiny Sensor? No. Turns Beetle. Okay, this one's fun. This one from Popular Science. Yes, of course. This is that's where I get most of my fun ones from. And I know we only have like 2 minutes left, so we'll do this quick. Apparently, a remote-controlled cyborg beetle now flying with greater precision, because that's what you need with beetles is greater precision flying. There are few ways better to answer a question than building a cyborg to solve it. Researchers at UC Berkeley and Nanyang Technological University in Singapore wanted to show how beetles steer themselves in flight, so they did the only logical thing. Strapped an electronic backpack to a giant flower beetle, let it fly, and record the results. So they strapped a small backpack weighing 1/20th of an ounce onto the beetles, which themselves weighed about 6/20ths of an ounce. The backpack contained a battery, wireless transmitter, electrodes that connected to the beetles' flight muscles, and optic lobes. By stimulating the muscles with electrodes, the researchers were able to get more controlled turns in flight. So yes, they made little cyborg beetles.
Cyborg beetles. Ah,
Pretty
God.
awesome.
Yeah, pretty awesome. I guess that wraps up the show for tonight. What do we got coming up tomorrow night? Oh, yes. We're going to have, in the first hour, Dr. Patrick Badish. He is the professor and chair of the Human-Computer Interaction Lab at Hasso-Plattner Institute in Potsdam, Germany. That is a mouthful. And what they're doing is they're hacking. The lab is hacking 3D printers and laser cutters to do some pretty awesome things. And he's going to be talking about it faster. They're going to give a faster 3D printing, interactive 3D printing, using different types of metamaterials that they're going to use rather than the standard plastics that most of these printers use. Anyway,
Sounds neat.
It's going to be an interesting first hour. Again, Dr. Patrick Bodish, Bodish, excuse me, and again from the Hasso-Plattner Institute in Potsdam, Germany. That's going to be our first guest. And then in the second hour, we're going to have computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Also on Wednesday, we're going to have Intel on the show. We're going to have
90 seconds.
We're going to be talking about what Intel is doing in the finding young scientists in the educational arena. That's going to be an interesting program. That about wraps it up. Wraps up Monday. We want to thank you so much for being with us here tonight. It was a lot of fun, and we're glad that you were here with us. Oh, look, they're still in the chat room. They're still talking about the bugs in the chat room. Again, thanks to our guest.
Our chat room has bugs?
60 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not good.
CrashOverride. I found that really interesting, and again, you can listen to it after we go with the air at our archives page. And of course, giftcards.com. A really unique way of giving gifts, showing you putting a little effort into it rather than just giving money. Thanks to both of our guests for the hour. Ben, what are you going to do?
Go to bed.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to have a little snack before I go to bed, and Ben and I will see you tomorrow night. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Hey, everyone.
10 seconds.
Pizza.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, everybody, thanks for watching us on our Google Hangouts live video stream. Ben and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.
Hey, everyone.
Good night.